Talking to a National League manager, he said it felt like this morning the offseason began. The Soto deal being over, the logjam breaks, and now everybody gets to work. Has it been an active morning as far as conversations go?
Yeah, a lot of conversations. And, this year, relative to others, seems like it's just been more active earlier. I think actually the number of transactions supports that. But yeah, I do think that, when there is this prominent generational player, that number of teams are waiting to see how that falls. It does impact the rest of the decision making, and so now I think there's a little bit more urgency in decisions and conversations, and it's been a really active morning.
I know you never put all the eggs in one basket, right? No team does. But I think to fans, they think, well, if you're going to spend X on one player and that player doesn't get signed, you just take X and reallocate it elsewhere. Is it that simple?
I'm not sure it's quite that simple. We want to make sure that each decision kind of stands on its own, right? And, this was, a unique opportunity to acquire, a generational talent. It doesn't change the overarching goal, which is to create the most competitive team we possibly can, one that is capable of winning the division. I think we've been outspoken about that. We maintain that position, but we have to make sure that each decision makes sense.
I feel that even if today you announced you had signed Juan Soto, we'd still be talking about the need for pitching, because that is something you've been upfront about since the end of last year. When you don't land a Soto or a player like that would tie up that type of resources, does it allow you to approach the need for pitching in different ways now?
I think so. I think this becomes more of a complete roster building exercise as opposed to kind of making a run at this elite talent. And so now we're thinking about how do the pieces fit together, such that we create the best team in totality. And I think there's going to be a number of ways to do that, and we certainly need starting pitching. I think we can also boost the back end of the bullpen, and we'll look to be aggressive in pursuing both of those.
On the starting pitching side, especially, we know there are prominent impact pitchers available on the free agent market. There are rumors that some impact starting pitching may be available on the trade market. Can you approach it both ways? Can you do both in one offseason?
Yeah, I think we can. But number one, we don't make the decision by ourselves. And number two, each of those decisions has to make sense. I think we're trying to balance. We always in this position try to balance the short term and the long term. But I think we have strongly signaled, and we don't intend to change, that we're going to be prioritizing the short term. We've asked a ton of our fans in terms of patience and tolerating finishes well below where the Boston Red Sox should be. And so it's time to deliver, and that may mean taking a bite out of the future in order to prioritize wins in the short term.
How different is that from a year ago? That the young players have matriculated another year. Now you're talking about kind of finishing pieces to an extent.
Yeah, I think this is where, from kind of an organizational building perspective, you want to be. You want to look at your team and say, we've got young, controllable talent in the big leagues. We've got a really exciting wave behind them, and now we're thinking about what are the deficiencies that we need to go out and acquire in order to complement this group.
I'll ask you finally, I know you don't need to win the winter meetings. You don't need to come away Wednesday night with the best 3 days in baseball. But do you expect things to happen relatively quickly now that the Soto deal is done?
My assumption is that things will start to pick up. Just the feeling we get around the industry is a number of teams have been waiting for this decision to come down. But again, we can be aggressive. We can, make outbound phone calls. We can reach out. But until players and teams are ready to transact, we're kind of needing to be patient.